Hello, Corey here. I have been sitting here for like a freaking hour or more. And then outside before that, 9 o'clock this morning or quarter to nine, I sat down to record this message. And so this is this is for after the new moon, and this is May the 9th. And it is for the weekend, going into the weekend and the following days of, the after effects of the new moon. And I could not record. Nothing was coming. And so I'm like, I don't even know where the planets are. I don't even know what's happening. I don't even know. I have no clue, but you do. They do. And they will always give me what is needed. I don't need to have a script and I don't need to have the information. I never have a script, but it's like the moment they're ready for a message. So the moment the guides are ready for a message to come through, a message will appear. And I just put my head up, hit record, and here we go. So I don't know what's coming. I don't know what's here. So I am really picking up the energy of surprise and the element of surprise. So we really have this element of surprise. And so there's this element of surprise that is in today's energy, and that there is like a glitch or a shift that is happening. And I can feel the shift, move the shift. So I did wake up this morning after a very weird night of being elsewhere. And when I woke up this morning, I got out of bed and I couldn't stay up. I had to go back to bed, and I never go back to bed. I get up 5:30, I meditate, I write, I have a routine. And I couldn't this morning. Nothing would let me. So I had to go back to bed, and I woke up at like 10 to 8. And when I got up, I was walking away and I heard look back. And I looked back in my bed and I literally seen myself laying there, and I seen myself. There was a self of me that was laying in the bed, like a holographic view image of myself. And I knew there was a piece of me that was left sleeping, and that she's gone to sleep, or it's gone dormant. And so this element of surprise does bring it in this sense of this, you know, things are now going back to sleep. So there's energy, or there's something in the energy that is going back inward and going back to rest or sleep, or what it's like the monster energy. It's like the whatever has been awakened before is now going back in. It has exhausted itself, it has wore itself out, and it's going back. And so it's just like there's a part of ourselves that may feel like it's going dormant, it is shutting down, it's served its purpose, it's no longer needed. It's just like almost like the Sleeping Beauty story. I don't know how to give this message. I don't know how to give this message, but I'm giving it. I'm listening. And so almost like the Sleeping Beauty. And but it's not needing to be awakened right now, but it's something that has kind of exhausted itself. So there's aspects and parts of our own lives that has extended itself out, overdid it, pushed it, has done everything that it needed to do, and has worked itself to the bone, and now it needs to be done. And it's like having a vehicle that finally just shuts down, and the vehicle just shuts down and it's done. And somebody else can tinker with it and work with it and probably get it working, but for you it's done. And so there is energy out there now, that there was energy that is now gone back to sleep, done. It will be not needed for another 100 years, 200 years, maybe 20 years, maybe 14, who knows, but for a period of time. So not in your, maybe not in your lifetime will you need to experience that experience again. So whatever you've been experiencing, that you've been just waiting for there to be a full circle or an ending to, this is the time of when you would be really truly maybe feeling the possibility of it finally being done. It has come full circle. It is uh finally went dormant. And so there is this dormant and the energy, or this ending energy that has taken place. And with that may come this sense of melancholy. It may come this sense of being tired, feel like something is missing. It may be a sense of, restored hope and faith may be rising within you. You may be feeling that energy. But there's also a sense of the very strong connection to our divine, and to the earth angels, and to the guardian angels. And I know myself, I'm out every day talking to my trees, and kind of like I'm getting impatient because I want the leaves to be out, but the grandmother plum tree just says, listen here, girl, Nothing's happening in your time. I'm sorry. This is nature and this is flow, and my leaves will open. I'm not here for your gratification and satisfaction. I'm here for nature. I'm here for my time. And so something new may be blossoming, opening up into our lives, but it's about patience. It's about not trying to force or push something into your life, because if you do, it will be kind of trying to run off of old habits, old ways, old things you may have done before that the old version of you got exhausted doing, and it doesn't need to do it no more. And so there is a new way and a new pathway that is extending out to us, that's opening up to us, but it's in the process. So it's peaking in. So we have this peaking in energy, which, we just don't know. You could wake up one morning and all the leaves are out, like something may bloom or blossom in your lives where a surprise element may begin to enter into our lives. And I'm all for this. I'm only the messenger. So I'm hoping to receive some of these good things as much as everyone else is, right? And so this energy is really speaking to us in the way of just saying, there's an element of surprise in what will open up, what will develop, what will appear, what will come. And it does bring in an enthusiastic energy, a sense, an element of excitement. And we've been really, truly having a lot of old, outdated, kind of wore out emotional energies. Like we've really been running the track on a lot of our repeat cycles that's been happening over and over, right? Like everything is like, when do we learn that war doesn't fix anything? When do we learn that nothing gets fixed or resolved from these massive destructions? Like, when do we learn to do things differently and look at things differently and approach things differently? And when do we learn to really truly let go of waiting for, this so-called prophecy of how we believe it's going to be? Because what if what if things are to be more metaphoric in our lives? What if the things that we hold on to so tight were the things that were supposed to be more metaphoric, so that it gives us the opportunity to self-discover, to really the possibilities, to look at all sides of things? And so here we are in this kaleidoscope of possibilities and opportunities and what could possibly be. But what could possibly be is requiring that part of ourselves that we haven't fully awakened into, or we're just awakening into. So we're awakening into a new energy. We are coming into a new energy, open up to a new possibility. Now we do have a retrograde that I'm seeing now. There is a retrograde. We have Pluto in a retrograde. We might have come out of Mercury retrograde, but Mercury retrograde doesn't just kind of end. It's like any retrograde, it's like any moon energy. It doesn't just like have a cutoff point and it ends. It is a kind of a slow release. So there's this slow release. And so we're kind of in the tail end of the opportunity of what's on the other side of the Mercury retrograde. And then we have the beginning of the Pluto retrograde. So we have this beginning of this Pluto retrograde, and it's doing this to me. It's showing it's doing this. That's how I'm seeing it. That's how it's visually appearing to me. And it's kind of like blending like this. So it becomes when you do a paint pour, when you're pouring paint and you're doing a paint pour on canvas and you don't know what it's going to look like. It's abstract. There's no real definition, but you just wait. And as the paints pour together. So as this pours into the Mercury, into the Pluto retrograde and the Mercury retrograde, and they pour together, is that they will begin to separate. And so there's a bit of a murky, not visible space and place where there's something developing, but it hasn't fully developed. And that's kind of how I'm seeing this. And then we're moving into that full episode of what a Pluto retrograde would be like. And if you look at your natal chart, you'll be able to see where and if you had planets in retrograde at the time of your birth. And so if you've had these planets in retrograde at the time of your birth, you may be feeling the effects of this differently. You may be wondering why you have these really melancholy times in your life and why you feel like it's like, I just don't have the energy. And you may use some real unhealthy language towards yourself in those times. And you may be telling yourself, oh, I'm not motivated. I'm lazy. I'm this, I'm that. No, you may be melting into that energy and needing to really truly allow things to slow down and to give yourself that pause and that rest. So this Pluto, even though all around it, what I'm seeing is I have all this enthusiastic energy and this excitement. I also have this really like nuclear, this, yeah, it's almost like a nuclear energy. That's what they're giving me, where it's just saying, we have to really truly contemplate and think about what we're about to do, who we're about to yell at, what we're about to be mad at, what we're about to step into. And it's just like, it can cause a chemical reaction. And so there's this sense of, we can have an emotional explosion within ourselves, which could be the surprise, or we can be very ecstatic. And last night on my live video, this came up in the cards, but it came up in the cards in the way of um, having those experiences in our lives. It's like those come to Jesus moments or come to God moments or whatever you want to call them, when it's just like you can't plan it. You'll never be able to reenact it. You can't even tell anybody. When you tell people about it, nobody can really truly feel what you're feeling, connect to it the way that you're connecting to it. Nobody can be in that energy the way that you can. I just could have swore there's something on my shoulder, but it's not. And so it's just like when you have this, like, say an image, a mirage, a spirit appears in front of you and you weren't expecting it, or you've never seen spirit, and all of a sudden you see spirit, you see the image of a spirit in front of you, and you're like, oh my God. And so we can be frightened and push our way back, or we can be like, oh my God. But if you try to recreate it and you try to tell people about it, it fizzles. It fizzles. You can never recreate it. It's what we just are available for, what we just walk into, what just opens up to us. And it's that element of surprise that is bringing about on a world scale this very element of surprise energy that can really truly give us something that just like, oh my God. But once we tell people, it fizzles because people don't believe us, right? It's like if you have that moment, people doubt it, or they'll say, oh, that was just in your head. You just imagine that. I had that my whole life. It's like, oh my God, I just seen that. Oh, that's just in your head. Or, oh, I seen that. Or, oh, they said that. Or, oh, that really happened. They really think that about me. And they're like, no, that's in your head. You just think that's happening. I'm like, no, it's not in my head. I know what I'm hearing. I know the voices that communicate. I know what I see. It's not my head. And so I know that to be so powerful and so true into me because I know me. I know when something is talking. I know when there's communication. I knew when there was the blue being standing around my bed that it wasn't in my imagination. It wasn't just in a dream, and it wasn't real. It was real. And it was as real could be. And it continued, and it still continues. I knew they were there. And so there may be these elements of surprise within our lives of where you think, how is this happening to me? How could this be happening to me? But it's happening. But it's happening. But it's happening to a newer version of ourselves. Something is awakening. I just got like this burning. So I don't know who's struggling with heartburn, who's going to be listening to this, who's got like some sort of heartburn, but I feel like almost feels like it's a heart attack kind of energy. So I'm picking up somebody of a heart attack, and it's right here, right now, and it's 1:41 on May the 9th, 2024. And I don't know if you've got someone in your life who has just gone through a heart attack, or somebody who's been struggling with having this kind of feelings and struggling, but I really get this sense of um heart, heart. And I do see like a miracle happening, being able to be saved, have like a miracle surgery, something really coming in. And so if there's somebody who's watching this, listening to this, and you just have somebody who's going through this, is that, miracles can happen. In the blink of an eye, something that feel so traumatic can turn into something so beautiful, and a miracle can unfold. And so I am feeling this energy, and it just come flying in. I could just feel it. I have it connected to me. And it's just like there's something that is speaking, and I just see somebody being opened up. So like open heart surgery, or having to have open heart surgery. And I'm also feeling it come down from here. So it's coming down here and through here, and I'm connecting to this, and I'm feeling this right now. And so I always ask, if this is not mine, take it away. I don't want to keep holding on to it. Just let the energy move through me. Let me get the messages out. So it's for whoever needs to hear that, whoever it is that is going through that, and you need that sense of validation or hope or whatever it is. I do see somebody going through that. I see a council of angels standing around the bed. I see Archangel Raphael and Jesus standing there. I see massive healing happening. And it's as if the divine steps into the surgeons, and something really miraculous is taking place and really helping to be able to bring that in. And my ears are just like clogging in. Like I just feel like everything is becoming intense, and I feel the intensity, and there's an intensity that's happening in this very moment. And it's so in the experience, my head is even hurting. I'm like, of course, I'm very much physical medium. And so I feel all of this happening. I feel it all happening. And so I don't know who you are. I don't know where you are in the world. And if you happen to, for some reason, if you just fell upon this message and it just resonates and it's just happening, it doesn't have to happen on May the 9th. But whenever this finds you and you're going through this, it's a message for you. And so the message is speaking volumes for us. And it's leaving me now, but it's been a part for like, it was so intense. So there's a really intense energy to stress and lots of concern, but there's always hope, there's always miracles, and I believe there's about to be a miracle come into somebody's life and bringing that miracle forth. As my time is now 1:44, the angels are with us. So there's angels and guides, and as I said in the beginning of the message, there is so many earth angels that are also leaving. So we have a lot of earth angel energies that are really climbing. And my last message for May, for all of May, I spoke about like the snakes and ladders games and seeing like that Jacob's ladder. And I'm really seeing that return of earth angels, like some earth angels, some very special people, really truly, being done with what they've came to do. And it doesn't mean they're always done on earth, but done with what they came to do, and moving from living a big spectacular life into living an ordinary life, or from living an ordinary life, or then from living, some are going to be moving from living an ordinary life into a spectacular life, of where they become the messengers on earth. And so there's this messenger energy, this intensity that comes, and the opening and the expansion of a lot of this self that is opening up. So we just got so much that's happening right now. And so it feels pretty ordinary. It can feel pretty ordinary, but there's extraordinary energy, an extraordinary exchange of energy that is also taking place for us. And it's like there's much of a once in a lifetime type of thing that's coming in. If you're my single people, I feel like you're Prince Charming or your Princess and Charming. I feel like that energy is here. Love is alive. And I just feel love is alive, and love is alive in a way that don't just bring just somebody else for you to date, but brings in lifelong partnership, brings together lifelong partnership. Now, on the other spectrum of that, you're also going to see people who have been together, who are not meant for the next part of this journey or the next exchange. Like the part that has to leave is the part of where you existed in those relationships. So there may be some endings of relationships, and you're like, where did it all go south so fast? Where did that happen so fast? But it's like a new era, a new time is beginning. And it's where two souls need to come together for the next journey. And so it's where souls that need to work together in partnership or in relationship begin to bring together and lock together and makes that connection. So there's new soul connections that is beginning, that will begin, that will start, and it will be the beginning of something new. So it's not a step by step, but there is the stages of an awakening that is taking place for some people. It is also the stage of rebirth and new beginnings and beginning again and starting again. And there's also the sense of the angels, the guardians, and being able to visibly see spirit world more in our world, the union, the coming together between spirit and our spirit here on earth, so that union. And so there's a union that is beginning to join us, and so that worlds are beginning to collide and life is beginning to collide. But also it's where we begin to build some structure again. And so moving forward, we're going to be moving into a time of where we do need to build some sense of structures. And so there is the restructuring, rebuilding, because we do need a strong foundation. And we can't go on a weak foundation. We can't build up on weak foundations. We need those strong foundations. So there is that strong foundation that is being structured and being built, which means that it does have to have this, because if we want to incorporate within ourselves this sense of being able to be safe and feel safe to be ourselves, feel like we can really be this self, is that we have to really truly also know that it's our job to protect and to guard the light. And so the guardian of the lights, the lady of the light who always speaks to me, the lady of the light and the guardian just says, this is not to be a free range. You don't put a precious diamond out on display and not have security around it. Somebody is going to take it. You don't open up to temptation. You don't put people or things in harm's way of danger and just say, here, come get it and have it. Is that it does need some sort of security around it as much as we can. And so that sense of self does need to be protected. And so our guardians, our protectors, our guardian angels are there to be at our side, and they're here to be of service to us. But you have to know that you have to ask your guardians and call your guardians in to be of service to you. So working with the element of what is available in resources to energetically support us as we move forward, as we begin, as we start again, and as we move into this new energy in this new time, which means sometimes you got to sit down and really listen to your counsel, listen to the energy, listen to what it is that you need, so that we're not in that, we're not returning back. We're not trying to wake up that part of ourselves that is ready to go dormant. And so this could be the part of the shadow essence. It can be a part of old stories, the past. It's like, if we need energy from there, if we need a resource from there, we can grab a resource. It's like a filing cabinet, but we don't need all of that energy. We know. And so it's almost like for some people, it's like you're beginning to just forget. It's like you're beginning to forget things of the past, and you keep trying to remember. It's like, oh, I wish I could remember this. You don't need to remember it. You're not here to remember it. If you need it to access it, it comes in, but you don't need to hold on to it, because your body is not storing it. It's being released. You're letting it go, and it's no longer being stored within you and in your energy field. It's opening up to clear energy. So there is space. So we're creating space inside of ourselves. We're creating space in the energy, and there's more. And so it opens up more room so that we can not become cluttered, but so that we can gain clarity, and that we can move forward with clear thoughts, clear knowing of who and what we need to be in moving forward. And so there is like I said, surprise element. This can be a very interesting energy. It's going to be a very interesting time. It's going to be very interesting to watch this move forward, but it's going to be something beautiful. So it's kind of like, guess what? You know how kids go, guess what? Guess what? Guess what I got? Guess what's coming? And then, but they really don't know. They just want to like get your goat. They're just piquing your interest because they want you to keep coming towards them. They want you to follow them. They want you to look into their hands, and then they go, I got nothing, but there's something. And so what it is the spark of joy that then lights, because you laugh with the child. And that's kind of where this energy is. So we have a lot of things that are unfolding, taking place. And yeah. And so there is beautiful opportunities, and there's things to celebrate. And really celebrating each other's success, celebrating that our own growth, being there for each other is such a huge part of how we grow and develop, because if one rises, we all rise. And so my new book is out. So this is my new book. This is Wine and Chips, and this is a collaboration of amazing women who really truly have done the healing work, put the work into ourselves so that we can continue to work together as an amazing team. Because I may write the books, but I don't do the rest. I write the stories, I write the books. My dear friend, Lisa Richard, she is the editor. And then her daughter is the designer of the cover. She put all this together. This cover came to me in a very flash of a dream when I was saying, I don't know what the cover, like I knew it was a wine glass, but I don't know what it looks like. And then all of a sudden I seen it and it appeared so quick and I was so excited, element of surprise. And so I sketched it out, and then I don't do any computer graph work. And so I sent it to Amelia Richard, and she's an amazing artist. And I'm like, do you get what I mean? She's like, I get what you mean. So for those wondering, you know how Jesus turned water to wine? Well, this is about turning wine back to water. It's about getting back to the purity, getting back to the truth. And that sometimes means allowing ourselves to feel, allowing ourselves to express how things make us feel and how we see things and how we view it and how we exist in it. But the importance of being able to stay looking at the light. And so this is a story about a grape named Rose. It is about the essence of shadow work and how powerful our thoughts are and our imagination can really truly become reality. And so this is a part of the series. This is the first book, More Than Existing. This book is about accountability, ownership, responsibility, and taking responsibility. I'm not the 5-year-old, I'm now the grown adult. Everything that I'm doing to myself in this lifetime that's me. That's not because when I was 3, my mother yelled at me. It's because I'm choosing to continue to do something. So this book is about, the way to more than exist is to first really truly see self. And it's about taking accountability and responsibility for yours and giving back what's not yours. The second book was My Truth of Existing Beyond Reflection. And I share stories and experiences and in hopes that people say, oh my God, yeah, I know that. Like, I feel that like in my story, in my scenario. And so this is about, yes, we do grow up. Yes, we are accountable and responsible, but it freaking hurt. And looking back in my reflect, that did hurt. That did hurt. And it's okay for me to say it hurt. It's okay for me to say I didn't like that. It's okay for me to feel that sense of offended. It's okay. I did feel it. I did feel it. So you're not denying yourself the opportunity to feel. And so this is really truly watching yourself from your soul. This is the connection that you make to your soul self. And I would say when you look in the mirror and you just see you for the first time, it's like one teardrop falls. And when one teardrop falls, that's when you're really truly seeing yourself, seeing all the way to the soul. You're seeing your light, you're seeing your truth. And then this one is truly about you got to sit with the shadow, because the shadow will not release the best of you. It will not release that truth of you, that beautiful treasure that has been hiding, because it's been told to hide it, to protect it, to keep that hidden. Don't let it out at all costs because it's not safe. And this is about being able to release that, to be able to return to innocence, return to that organic, original self, the authenticity, because there was never nothing wrong with us. And yeah, and so these are a part of a series as my journey has continued and went on. And Lisa somehow gets it. And so it's like abstract work. I'm not going to tell you it's so perfectly structured. It is abstract work on pages. And then it's the Everyday Goddess Oracle cards. You can go directly to my website, which is in the link below, and you can get access to all the cards, all the books. They are all on Amazon. The cards are not. The cards are Everyday Goddess Oracle cards are only on, these are only on my website. So to get those, go directly to my website, and I look forward to hearing from you. Those books are really truly meant to be like a conversation piece, that have a wine and chips and have a book party. And what do you think it means? What do you think it means? Because the minute you start assuming that you know what my story of it means, then that becomes your story of it. And I'm like, so if I know what things meant to me, and I know how things mean to me, and I like opening up to perspectives and views. And I can't wait to come together and be on a stage and be in a group of women, and where we can really truly engage in those conversations about wine and chips. I send you much love. Thank you for being here. And I hope this message resonates with you. And like my page, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and hit the notification button if you like these videos.